Hey, good afternoon, justice seekers. I hope I didn't catch you off guard coming on a little bit earlier. It's about 12:22 on Friday, October 28th. So hello again. Thank you so much for your listening. It's really the best gift we can give to somebody, in my opinion. Everything I say is my opinion only, and it is purely speculation for the sake of education and entertainment, hopefully. So, hey, John Cross. Good morning, Justice. So I'm on East Coast time, so it's already getting closer to 12:30 here. Hey, sis, Pixie Knickers, Rhonda R. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Welcome. So, as I've mentioned before, I really like to review my work because I sometimes catch myself making a mistake, and that happens. It's just that I like to correct it, and I like to have the continuity. So, when I'm listening to stuff, taking notes, I'm getting all kinds of ideas, and then I get excited to put a show together like right now. As you know, I usually start like 1 o'clock and just a little bit earlier than normal, but I am a creature of routine and comfort. So, um, a few things I wanted to talk about. I'll do a little outline and then get into it. I wanted to talk more about the parallels between Kylie Rodney's death and Meredith Kercher's death. To recap for anybody who missed it, Meredith Kercher was the victim in what the world knows as the Amanda Knox case out there in Italy. I also wanted to talk more about the um, fact that Kylie's grandfather headed a very powerful water agency in Lake Tahoe. Okay. He was the head of a very powerful water agency in Lake Tahoe for roughly 30 years. He may or may not be the head of the nature and culture program at University of Davis, who has the same name and a lot of the same type of talent and skills. Um, and he may or may not be related. I'm not being smart. I just haven't had enough research yet. um, to the Home Farm School of Natural Order. Did you catch that? Home Farm School of Natural Order. That title fascinated me. So I wrote it down to share it with you guys. Um, so one of the many articles that I found online, and if you Google David Robertson, Lost Trail Lodge, anything like that, water company, you'll get a lot of information. This man has quite the uh, resume. And he's a musician, a very talented musician. So, more power to him. The Loneliest Road in America is one of the articles that I read online that he wrote that is in the terrain.org um, internet website. So, Meredith Kercher's family, Kylie's family, um, I've mentioned some of the parallels of the jealousy and the um what's the word, the attractiveness of these females and their potential courters, love interests, right? Another key aspect that I have failed to mention as of yet, and it is very likely the most important aspect, is that when Meredith Kercher was murdered in, I think it's Perugia, if I'm saying it right. I forgot to look it up and check. The village that she was in Italy is a very much a university, an international university town. That's what most people are doing there. That's what Amanda Knox was doing there, and that's what Meredith Kercher was doing there. So people go to that lovely, idyllic Italian village or town to study and to party. It's I'm sure quite lovely. I've never had the honor myself. But when a international foreign exchange student was murdered right there by another international foreign exchange student, allegedly. It was a nightmare for um, tourism, to put it bluntly, right? So a lot of cases are actually guided by the tourism dollars or just by the dollar. So if tourism is the biggest bread and butter maker in the community, or say big oil companies like Anadarko in Colorado, which is no longer in existence, which was going through a multi-billion-dollar merger at the time that there were 3 dead bodies on their property due to the actions of one of their star employees, potentially 2 of their employees, potentially more of their employees. So they just wrap it up tight so they can get on with the merger. They only lost a few $1,000,000 in that case. I'm not sidetracking. People that have paid attention to the Watts case know what I'm talking about. But what's really important with Meredith Kercher's case and with Kiely Rodney's case is that you're dealing with smaller towns where tourism dollars are some of the cornerstone of the economy. So they don't want that damaged. They don't care about life and death of little people. They care about protecting the cornerstone of the fiscal stability of their city or town, right? I mean, and in a way, there's nothing wrong with that. In a way, that's kind of the way you have to think. But in a way, there's something completely wrong with that, right? I was just catching up with the replay from earlier live. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Crime and Crochet, for being a mod and being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So, I'm just sick over Meredith Kercher's murder, the homicide, the slaughter of Meredith Kercher, and um, the way that one of the people who was convicted of killing her 2 times has profited off of her death and made a multi-million-dollar industry off of her death. That sickens me. Um, I could see somebody in this story trying to do that exact same thing, becoming famous as a villain in a sick, twisted story, and then just riding that fame to fortune. Yeah, it's like worse than a movie, right? Speaking of movies, there's one movie that I have never mentioned in relationship to Lord of the Flies comments about the Prosser family campground party that Kiely Rodney allegedly disappeared from. And I want you guys to prepare yourself because this is super ugly. And I'm just going to take the hit. Any subs I lose, it's okay. See ya. Now, are you ready? Are you sitting down? Are you like grabbing a teddy bear or a puppy dog or something? It's come to my mind many times, and I've never wanted to say it. The Accused, Jodie Foster movie. I'm not saying that that's what happened that night, but it could be what happened that night. It's something that nobody likes to talk about. It's something that showed up in a chat, like the chat that we have here on someone else's channel. I'll just say the word train. It just makes me so sick. Gang activity. Gangsters do that sort of crap. It's not acceptable in any way, shape, or form, and it should be punishable by capital punishment, in my opinion. But I just wanted to put that out there, that's another movie that they could have said, oh my God, it was like The Accused. We just had to hightail it, protect ourselves. So, let that sink in for a minute. And one of the things I want to say with all of the infighting that is going on right now with creators is to not be petty. to stand your ground, stand up for what you believe in, but let's not be splitting hairs and getting petty. And also, any kinds of threats are not legal. So that's not a thing to do. It's really not. Um, and you know, so Amanda Knox made our country look terrible. That's why CNN jumped in immediately, was to make Italy not hate Americans more than they already hated Americans. Okay, that's pretty much the bottom line. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. So, she was the quintessential all-American kid, and she made all of the things that people hate about America and Americans. She outdid that 100 times over. She was just a spoiled little brat, just beaming in the attention, just reveling in the attention, with Charles Manson eyes, grinning, crazy clothes, all kinds of weird stuff. Like, remember the cartwheels or headstands or handstands that she was doing when she was being interrogated? That type of attitude all the way through the trials, every single day. Like, nobody could control her. And, CNN just made sure that they edited their tapes as well as they could to portray her not looking like the freaking monster nightmare that she was portraying. And she still does that, even in her demure, "Oh, I'm married and have baby now, and I'm all chill, and I'm a journalist, and I'm fighting for people who've been wrongfully convicted." Um, it's so disgusting. It's so sad to me that Meredith Kercher's family gets victimized and re-victimized and re-victimized every time that bitch is making money off of their dead daughter. Okay? The Charles Manson eyes. Have we seen Charles Manson eyes on anybody in this cast of characters? I know I've seen them a couple of times, primarily on one of Kylie's ex-boyfriends, but also on one of the females. And I don't think you could fake Charles Manson eyes, I mean, and if you could hide them, certainly they would. I mean, sometimes I can do some weird eyes, especially with the glasses. It really comes off funny. But it's that blank stare too. It's not just like the seeing the whites of the eyes and the wide eyes. It's the shit-eating grin, like the Cheshire cat who ate the canary, the gloating. Oh, it's so disgusting. So I took a term from Harsh Reality's uh, drop this morning, which was recalibrating. I was so happy to see him do another Kiely case. I think he does really good work, and he covers a lot of cases, and he's very passionate about what he does, and he is not wanting to be redundant on the Kiely case. I don't want to be redundant on the Kiely case. I don't think anybody wants redundancy on the Kiely case. But he drove home some really good points. So, he keeps saying, "I'm not going to do any more Kiely things," and then he does another, and I'm like, yes, he's doing another. So, I'm sure that as he feels the need, he will do what he feels needs to be done. Um, but one of the things that he said about the Kylie Rodney case, and the one that he published this morning, is how bad that murder of a teenage girl, or death of a teenage girl in their lake or their reservoir, how bad that is for business. And remember, we're just about 2 weeks from, just a little bit over 2 weeks, 2.5, close to 3 weeks maybe, from what they're hoping is going to be the beginning of their cash cow that they're hoping will last through April. Um, and, people in that community rely on the tourism, the ski dollars. I don't know what ski passes cost these days, but they're probably like 150 bucks a day for one person for one ski pass, to go up the lift. Some people cross country ski, but most people downhill ski or snowboard. So, so even if you have a free place to stay, it is not cheap. You still kind of have to be loaded to ski. And these places are full of rich people, rich white people. I hate to say that, but it's pretty much how it is. Um, and that's not to say that there aren't plenty of rich people that aren't white, and there's plenty of people that ski that aren't white, but it's predominantly that. So they like to keep it that way. I mean, that's the Truckee way. That's the whole thing, in my opinion. So another thing that I wanted to reiterate that Harsh said, that he's been deeply affected by Kylie's death, and he's got teenage daughters, and he's deeply affected, and he understands that all of us have been deeply affected. He also said the autopsy is a sham. And for that, I thank him. Like, we don't really need to say anything else. That's pretty much sums it up, right? Um, so somebody was really curious about Kevin Neese's comment at the end of the live panel discussion last night. And I think that was when he was saying that Kiely could have been a message, like a messenger. And I even asked, like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Because I've had that idea, but not in that same verbiage, that there could have been some real thug activity of a debt, basically, that, you break somebody's thumbs, you break their kneecap kind of thing, um, take out a person that they love. Um, I don't know, and again, I hope that that's all just a crock of shit, but these are things that probably most of us have at least contemplated once or twice, and the more they cover up this bullshit, the more they're revealing. That's how I see it. So, if they're smart, they'll just stop with the cover up, they'll let the feds come in and bust everybody and be done with it, right? In a perfect world. In a perfect world. So no, they will keep covering, keep covering, keep covering till the day that they die. That's usually how those folks work. They go into prison, they don't stop. They don't stop. Um, and I want to remind everybody about, I mentioned it yesterday and even in the live last night, people who have suggested, and Harsh has been one of them, and I think it's good to leave no stone unturned. People who have suggested the potential possibility of self harm in Kylie's case. And I just want to remind everybody that she was in the cargo space, probably strapped down. So I don't think we need to discuss that any further, but I do want to discuss it a little further because I want to remind everybody in the early, early days that Jagger and Kate very specifically alluded to, oh, and the sweatshirt, the Lana Del Rey quote, they were really I think that was like plan A. Like, let's see if we can sell it that she's distraught and offed herself, or, gave up on this life and went to start anew under a different name or something like that. Kate's comment about when they made their little dessert treat, and she said, nothing was the slightest bit off. And the only reason you would say that is inferring that it was something internally with Kiely, or that she was having some kind of conflict, maybe with somebody else that she, if she was rattled, it would have shown. But certainly Jagger's statements like, don't do anything stupid, or I wish I could have been there to protect your stupid ass. Isn't that the actual, like, verbal direct quote of one of his posts? Oh, I hope that, you found the piece that you've been looking for. I think that was another pretty accurate, direct quote of Jagger in one of his many posts. And again, for these many posts, we can thank them because they're helping further Kiely's justice. Um, so what did I write here? Take what they are covering up to themselves. I don't even know what I meant by that, but I kind of remember. Take what they are covering up to themselves. It was really good. Can anybody make sense of it? Um, I am sorry. Uh, it'll come to me probably. I've also wanted to mention Wallace and Gromit, and I love that cartoon, that claymation. I like to keep it light when it's so heavy, if you guys don't mind. Wallace and Gromit, the nervous dog that's always knitting, and when things get really bad, he just knits faster. I love that. Oh, it's adorable. So, hmm, a couple other things. We we know so much now that I am doing, and I've suggested to other people who are interested to do it too, to review what we have seen from the beginning with the hindsight of 2020 that we have now because of the information that we have now. Look back over the last couple of months and review the tapes. You learn so much, each one of them. It's remarkable. Um, but another thing, another little cliche that I love, and maybe you've heard me say it once or twice, is a fish doesn't know that it's wet until it's taken out of the water. And maybe you've heard that before. A fish doesn't know that it's wet until it's taken out of the water. And that is so true for all of us. I don't know if that's what Christina is saying 100%. No, you're talking about somebody being cute. The moon is made of cheese. Yes, you're still talking about Wallace and Gromit. That's cute. So our hindsight is 2020, and it's such a statement of humanity that the way we're made, whatever it is that we're in, we can't see it. It's just normal to us. And, so if we're like born and raised in a cult, we don't know that we're born and raised in a cult. That's just normal. That's just real life, right? Or in an abusive situation or whatever, or a beautiful um, garden picturesque situation. It's not a beautiful garden picturesque situation if that's all we've ever known. That's just normal, right? So it's just important to understand that for any situation, nobody is going to see clearly what they are in until they're not in it anymore. So I'm kind of using this, maybe applying to the people that have been born and raised in the community of Truckee, and kind of with the idea that they are perhaps all victims of some type of cult or some type of cult mentality. And just that concept that perhaps every person in Truckee is a victim of sorts. It's just an idea. And I don't think I came up with that on my own. I think it was Squirrels on Fire that I kind of gleaned that from a couple days ago, some of the alive that she was doing. So, thinking about that, like somebody like Megan, who's coming out and talking, and it's my opinion that she's trying to spin things a certain way and that she's trying to do Sammy a solid. But, even Sammy, victim. I mean, anyway, um, there's a lot of content here. The other thing I really wanted to cover is the business that I started with of David Robinson, if I'm saying his name correctly, and the very powerful, large public water company that he owned for 30 years. I think it might be called Lake Tahoe Water Company, something like that, something real general. But when there was the big lawsuit that Sammy's mother was at least one of the lawyers on the opposing side, it sounds like the litigation was very long, very drawn out, and very horrible, and that there's a lot of bad blood there. It sounds like to me. I don't know for a fact, but that is typically how those things work. So let me read some of your comments here. Doubtful she's too busy partying. Hey, Squirrel Girl. Butterfly McCoy, GOP, your heart is true. You're a pal and confident. I reckon they are watched to see how close we are and also collect names and info of people. Yeah, I think we all need to be careful. But again, not too careful because we're not going to be silenced, are we? We're not going to let this crap continue. Enough is enough. I think she has someone that does it for her and brings info back to her. Um, sorry, what's up? I'm on live. Okay, thanks. Bye. Love you. Sorry. I thought this person knew that I was on live, and so they had some information that they had to tell me right now before I said another word. So anyway, that's cool. I'm glad that you guys don't mind if I answer my phone when I'm talking to you. If I don't recognize the number, of course I'm not going to answer it. So let me read a few more of these. I think she has someone that does that for her and brings info back to her. And I don't know if you're talking about me or someone else. Mostly I do all my own stuff. I do have one or two people that do some stuff. And, they don't want credit. So they're the kind of people that just want to be invisible. All right. So, but I won't take credit for other people's work. I'll let you know. Butterfly, and if you threw a party, invite everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me. I remember wondering why my family was so different than my friend's family. They were so loving and kind. My family was only nice when they wanted to deceive. Wow. Yeah. When I need a laugh, I love watching Golden Girls or Scrubs. Oh my God, I love Scrubs. That show is flippin' hilarious. It's just brilliant. So he sure was young when he acquired that water company. 1986, I believe, and I haven't done the math to try to figure it out. I was about 19 in 1986, and he's probably about 10 years older than me. So yeah, in his late 20s, that is pretty young to be owning a water company. What? How do you get that deal? So most likely his parents had something to do with it, right? I mean, he wasn't born a coal miner's son, let's say. You look adorable in a ball cap, Jazz. Ah, thank you, Squirrels on Fire. It has beer on it. I don't drink beer, but if I did, this is the beer that I would be drinking. That and Blue Moon. Oh my God. With an orange in it, like an entire orange squeezed right into the Blue Moon, and then I'd eat the whole orange after I dropped it in and drank the beer. So I did like my microbrews, especially the blonde microbrews. But anyway, we won't go on with that. Thanks. It helps with the whole hair situation because the hair situation is a drag. UBAC Jeff has hired a PI and send them to Truckee and will be giving daily updates. Right. And the not to be cynical, but the problem with that is that all these people have to do is pay the PI off more than what you back to Jeff paid. And unless this person has, a lot of integrity, money talks. And I'm not saying that they don't have a lot of integrity. I'm just saying that money talks. I love your short videos. Yes, I do too. I don't know how to say that. Tzlagi. She does great work. I think it's a she. I think they are a she. We really don't mind. It's life. It's all good. Life goes on. We're golden girls. No talking about Swammy. Oh, I love it. I mean, who wants to talk about people that aren't cool? I mean, When will you do your next show? Um, Good question. Probably not tonight, but you never know. Probably sometime tomorrow. Let's say. Let's go with that. Um, I did 4 yesterday, you guys. I think I mentioned this in my earlier video. I did a morning, I did an early afternoon, I did a 7:30 PM, and then I was on that 2-hour panel. And, you know, in a sense, it was easy. It's like I enjoy this so much that when you are passionate about your work, it's not work. I mean, it still has its ups and downs, but I just think it's so important to really enjoy what you do. Um, Justice A to Z, did you make your necklace? I used to have Etsy jewelry business years ago, also making it's therapeutic. I mostly paint now. I didn't make this one, but I did actually make this one. It's like a little, what is it? Hummingbird and flower and stone. And then the earrings, I think my mom made. I say I think because my mom and I made a lot of similar stuff. And then the shirt, my lovely shirt, I just finished. So I made both of these, but I just finished the rose one. I've been working on it forever. You know, those really lightweight fabrics are impossible. So I've given up on trying to be perfect, and that makes it a lot easier because I was never going to finish this one, and I really wanted to wear it, and so I got it done. So anyway, enough about the shirt and all that good stuff. Thanks, you guys. Um, Let me share a little bit because I don't want anyone to think that I don't want to share about myself. Um, I do want to share. I like to learn from telling people, and I like other people to learn from me telling, but I want to stay focused on Kiely Rodney. But I know that people wonder when I say something like, well, I've had my own trauma. I mean, come on, who hasn't, right? Mine was pretty severe. I fortunately have never been assaulted, thank God. Um, but how do I say it? I'm just going to spit it out. That's the easiest way. There was an attempt made on my life when I was a kid. So yes, as is what I said. You can replay it. Somebody made an attempt on my life when I was a kid, and I believed that it was an accident. It took me 12 years to realize that it was not an accident. So for me, that was when my PTSD type of stuff kind of started. Although, intuitively, things. And there were stages in those 12 years where it was kind of dawning on me, but I would shy away, right? So it was not an accident, it was intentional. There were police involved, but there was not justice because um, it was packaged as an, oh, whoops, sorry. So it was a poisoning type of situation. And the only reason I don't want to get into it is not because I'm trying to be at all deceptive. One thing is that people love to take anything you say and use it against you. So screw y'all bastards. I will delete your asses. And people like to see victims as victims. And that's a huge mistake with somebody like me. Okay. I'm not going to make any threats. It's just, I ain't nobody's victim, period. Got it? But the other thing is I'm trying to stay focused on Kiely. So Kiely had an attempt on her life, I believe, as a 16-year-old that was successful, for lack of a better term. Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why I feel very connected to Kiely's case. Any questions? That's what came of your trauma. Yeah. So, post traumatic stress is something that almost everybody has dealt with on some level. And it's just important to identify it for yourself and for others. Like if say you work with somebody who's a war veteran and they have PTSD and it shows up in the workplace a lot and it's really hard to deal with, it's good to know that that's what it is you're dealing with that person. It's good to identify what's going on. And and again, that whole thing with that you're kind of in a war of sorts all the time, whether it's in a relationship with somebody that you love or a relationship with somebody that you hate at work. There's almost all of us have had that, right? Or a neighbor that you hate. That life can be like a war zone, but it's, landmines and airstrikes and crossfire and friendly fire. You never know what's coming from where. I mean, it can even be from one of your kids and, with good intentions, even. It could be accidental. Um, you just got to be so careful, and you've got to be flexible and be able to protect yourself, be able to um be strong and be sensitive at the same time. Am I on my soapbox again? I try not to get on it. What? Oh, okay, thank you, hon. Okay, that was my mod. So, Pixie Knickers, she said you were saying there was an attempt on my life as well. I was in high school. I wasn't home. He didn't know that and used a tire iron on my bed. He thought he killed me. Nothing happened to him. Them. Fuck that shit, man. I am so sorry. That is so, so, so disgusting. It makes me shake just thinking about it. Right. Like, I mean, what luck, right? Um, I have had many close scrapes at parties that could have gone horribly south. I could have ended up like Kiely, but I would always get out of any situation so fast. And I had so many guardian angels, I think both in the spirit world and on the ground, the boots on the ground. So, I had a lot of close scrapes because I was a party animal, and I just was lucky in that regard that some horrible stuff like that never happened to me and never will, because it just won't. I've done a lot to make sure of that. Took me 20 years to acknowledge something which happened to me at 12 years old, which in fact, grooming, I learned last week that my abuser had died last year, brought me some peace. That's awesome. That is awesome. It's also nice to realize that sometimes, even though there's some peace with that, it can also be a trigger. And especially if it's somebody that you love and care about that wronged you. And then when they're deceased, there might be some peace there. But also, it's a trigger, especially because you won't have the opportunity to confront them or work it out with them further if you haven't already. Um, but that's really not true. You can always confront them and work it out with them further, even when they're 6 feet under. So just know that if anybody out there is in a situation like that, just watch the behavior panel on Sammy Smith. I'm really looking forward. Thanks for reminding me. Don't agree. I know they are professionals, but don't agree. I suggest you watch it if you haven't already. I will. I want Martin Decoder on that. Yes, her case is open. I'm not sure which case. Oh, are you talking about Kylie's case? God had a purpose for you. Aw, that's so sweet. He was supposed to kill me and leave me dead at my boyfriend's broken legs. However, the guy broke in with the wrong house and beat the wrong person. Holy crap. So, you bring up a really good point, Pixie Knickers. I hope you don't mind if I pull it right back to Kiely. um there could have been a hit on Kiely talking about what Kevin Neese was talking about, that 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 could have been a message or a warning of sorts. um Oftentimes hiring hits is the best way to do things, and when a hit is hired, it's kind of like open season, and whoever gets the prize is whoever gets the prize, and whoever is involved in getting the prize also gets a prize. So I don't want to say anything more about that. You can run with it in your imagination. Um, but I don't want to be pointing fingers when I have no idea if that is a thing here or not. So maybe more on that later. Um, so I wrote down this thing that I read a few minutes ago. Take what they are covering up to themselves. I think what I was quoting is take what they are covering up to the graves, that they'll take it to the grave themselves. And that's usually the case. Again, look at the Chris Watts case. He has stated quite definitively that he will take things to the grave about what happened that night. He's come up with three kind of official or unofficial versions of what happened that night, and none of them are true. I don't know if any of them have the slightest bit of truth. They never matched the evidence to his story, and that's why it's been talked about. Zav Girl started with that. Kelly with What's the Obsession may have started with that. I'm not sure. She only started like a year ago, I think, maybe a year and a half ago. I mean, that girl kicks butt. And then Armchair Detective out there in the UK, he also kicks butt. He's been on that case probably for 4 years solid, I think, from like the minute it happened. And again, sometimes it's easier to see things when you're not the fish that's in the water. You know, People that live in other states are going to be able to see things more clearly than people who live right there. And people who live in other countries are probably going to see things even more clearly than we will see things that happen in our own country. We've got a lot of great YouTubers that are in the UK that are killing it. They're like some of the best ones, in my opinion. Curiosity may have killed the cat. Hey, CNY, I'm so glad you're here. I was hoping that maybe you would come in to um the live panel last night. Oh, how come I can't move this right now? It's just, oh, there we go. And I'm also hoping that you may have emailed me. I haven't checked my email since my last live. Hey, everyone, what is going on? How is everyone? What are we talking about? Oh, I love that's so cute. Who wants to catch her up? Um, so CNY does such incredible work. Just wanted to show you some support. I gotta finish what I'm doing. Have a good day. I was busy last night. Sorry. No problem. I know it's so hard when you're a creator because you know that you have information that you want to put out there for your people, and your people are like hungry for it. And then at the same time, you're wanting to check out all this other stuff. So you just really have to prioritize. And I'm not a person that can listen to things on like time and a half. I know a lot of creators do that. Um, I've even tried it at like 1.25 and it just doesn't work for me. The one thing I can do sometimes is have two devices at once, but that's also challenging. I really prefer just one device at a time at regular speed. And so I'll never be able to watch everything I want to watch, but I try. I try just to get what I can and just be appreciative of what I can get. So thanks for coming by, CNY. You are such an inspiration, and I just support you 100%. You are kicking butt, and just keep at it, girl. Keep at it. So, where are we at? We're at 45 minutes almost. So maybe I'll wrap it up. I used to always keep them around 20 minutes and then they just kept getting longer and longer. And recently they've been like an hour and 20 minutes. And I'd like to try to scale it back for my benefit so I can watch more and take notes more, but just for your guys' benefits too, because I know I'm not the only channel most of you guys watch, and that you might have other stuff you got to do with your life. So you are kicking butt. Thank you, Butterfly. I feel like I might be sometimes, but you guys are like the wind under my wings. Like, seriously, I just wouldn't feel like I was soaring like this without the people that are paying attention. Oh my God, I only just came in. Oh, Karen Ann, more, please. You guys are all doing great for Kiely. Thank you for putting Kylie's name right there, because we always want to recalibrate and refocus and keep our focus on Kiely. Damn it. It's all about Kiely. Kiely is my hyper focus. Kick arse, as we say in the UK. Oh, are you in the UK? Crime and crochet are my hyper focus. I did not even realize that. More, please. XXX. That's so cute. Can you do a panel to discuss Solicia's involvement? I don't know how to do panels yet. Um, Kelly might do that. I could suggest that to her because she's really good with the panels, in my opinion. Um, and Salish Singh, we know, made an accusation that two men brought Kiely to see a basement apartment with another attractive woman that was more like Indian looking, dark hair, dark skin, and beautiful. So that these three adults brought a strung out teenager to rent a basement apartment. And she was like, no way, Jose. And she also was in Tony's chat. And yeah. And then who is it? Is it CNY that is saying that somebody said in the chat yesterday, I think, that Salish Singh's mother, or no, the mother of the family of four, the grandmother of the baby, um, had been calling the tip line for Kylie's case routinely. So there may be some kind of direct or indirect correlation. I don't know. Um, Nothing would surprise me in this case. And if this is what it looks like, trafficking and cartels, um, again, Kylie's death might not have been a result of trafficking and cartels, but what we're seeing is a bunch of trafficking cartel indicators in that area, right? So, if this is that, and that's what a lot of the cover up is, then it is time for that crap to stop. Um, I mean, it's just been going on for way too long. Thank you. I want to know why both Sammy and Zanime were both covered in bruises. I don't remember seeing Oh, I do. I do remember seeing some Zanime bruises. That is a really good question. Living Lake Time has two new names. Time to get digging. I keep up with his stuff. I checked just today, so I don't know if I missed something or if he just dropped something in the last half hour. Um, but yeah, he is so on it. I am really appreciative for Casey Living Lake Time. So that is, I think, the right title of his channel. If anyone's had trouble finding it, Living Lake Time. And he might do something like Instagram or TikTok. I pretty much just stick with YouTube, so I'm not very familiar with all the other things. And Kate was too, Karen Ann says, and I have heard that. Wow, the grandma was probably hoping to protect her family. Oh my God, that's wow. And I don't know. I don't know. The Salish Singh, there's not a direct relationship to that family of four that was allegedly kidnapped and murdered, but that's something that I heard, I think, in my chat yesterday, that the grandmother of that baby that was one of the four in that family of four had been calling the tip line regularly about the Kiely Rodni case. Drain the swamp. Speaking of Salish Singh, didn't Jagger and Kate go to Reno to look for Kiely? Yep. Good point, Dana Phipps. Thank you. Super sharp point. And then there was the alleged sighting of a light blue minivan with a license plate number that a lot of us have written down in a 911 call. And this was CNY, I think, that was really on this one. The call said that it's a match. The vehicle's a match. And allegedly, this vehicle is on a surveillance camera at that address at the gated community in Reno, and yeah, it was CNY that was. Oh, and Squirrels on Fire. Both of them, I think, have done some deep digging on that. So allegedly, and I can't remember the date, it might have been around August 13th, give or take, um, that allegedly there's surveillance footage of a light blue minivan potentially being driven by Jagger, potentially with Kiely in it. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I'm just sharing that because that's a huge question mark. That's one of those things, like the bodysuit wadded up and like the phone call about the um, topless woman that escaped out of a silver CRV the night that Kiely went missing in Sacramento, and then people like pulled her back into the SUV, the CRV. So, these three things might not have any bearing in Kylie's story, but they might. We don't know. Um, DY is the one giving the info. He wasn't with Alicia Branson B was. The topless woman thing always feels to me like a fit. Absolutely. Me too. And yeah, topless because her spaghetti strapped bodysuit was left back between Boca and Prosser reserves on the road where the person discovered it, I think 2 days later. I think it was on the 8th, Monday morning, when she was walking her dog before she went to work. And then the thing with that light blue minivan, and thank you for the person who sent me the Fox News footage of the uh, interviewers driving behind Jagger and Kate in what looks to me like a medium blue Mitsubishi SUV. Almost looks like a minivan. I think it's the same vehicle that's in the footage that it looks like they're getting out of it when they start that interview where they're standing in the parking lot. And in the video, when right before that, when the newscasters are following them to Reno, they show the vehicle and the license plate clearly. Thank you. That's some good footage. That's some really good footage. So I don't think that license plate is a match to the light blue license plate that I was just talking about in that surveillance footage, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to look into that. So I am going to wrap it up since we're at 53 minutes. About Jagger has deleted some messages he posted, but people caught them. One said, yeah, screenshot everything. Um, there is a blue minivan. I'm trying to find the proof of the owner. So Squirrels on Fire and CNY, I don't think she's here anymore. If you guys could email me, if you haven't already, my email, and anyone is free to email me, is justice, ATOOZ at gmail.com. And there's some specific information I'd like to share with you guys with CNY and Squirrels on Fire. So please email me and then I can just respond really easily. Oh, sorry, spell again. Or if you want to put your email in the chat too, Squirrels on Fire, it is justice, ATOOZ at gmail.com. Spell email again. And I can type it in there. If you're not live tonight, will you come on to Kevin Neese's live to discuss your song in the concert? I'm not sure. It's Friday night. I'm not sure that I can, but let me try to get my email in here for anybody who wants it. Let's see. Thank you for your patience. Justice, ATOOZ at gmail.com. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I'm going to sign off. So, peace out. Have a great afternoon, kicking off to a fabulous weekend. eat healthy, be well, breathe, exercise, be kind to yourself, kind to others, kick jerks out of your life temporarily or forever. I still don't think you found my email just yet. I'll look right now. Thanks, you guys. I love you. I really do. Peace, love, and all that jazz. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a really good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of the day and see ya.